Welcome back. This is still News Today on Afia Television, and I am Ogochukwu Osai. And now to the conversation segment. Enugu State Governor Dr. Mbah has been appointed chairman of the newly established National Committee on Security Training Reforms just a little over a week after he defected from PDP to APC. Now, this recognition is being viewed from two different standpoints. Is it as a result of his leadership and reform record, or a classic case of political reward? To unpack this, I've been joined by Afia TV's Chief Correspondent Nathalie Ukwu. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ogochukwu, for having
me. Now, let's move straight to the conversation. Mbah has been, first of all, before we go into the whole details, what's your take on this new recognition? What do you think about it?
Well, when I saw it, I mean, it already was in the news yesterday. We saw the release by Kashim Shettima, Vice President of Nigeria. But once we read between the lines, we started to see that little paragraph that said it. And I think my first reaction to it was, it's happened so quickly. Automatically, I thought about the timing of it, the defects, and the next thing you get that appointment, that validation came very quickly. And by validation, it's almost seen as some kind of vote of confidence. So I'll take it back to Enugu, because that's where we are, and you can blame Enugu Kwenu for that. All right, so somehow my perspective always comes from Enugu. When we saw the Labour Party candidates, Chijoke Edoga, defect to the PDP, from Labour Party to PDP, one would have also thought that something like that would have happened. But it didn't happen. So immediately I thought about that. That was my first thought. Oh my God, but it seemed to flip in the state governor's case, right? So he got in there, and Tinubu putting him to lead that panel, to chair it, to be at the helm of it, shows that that's some kind of vote of confidence. Vote of confidence in capacity to deliver. And lots of people started to also ask questions about, oh, was this the reason, the political dimension and the rest? But then we decided to dig deeper in the department, looking at the track record as well. And of course, I'm sure in the course of the conversation, we'll get to that.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to ask, we're not going to neglect the reforms we've seen him over the past 2 years. So if we're going to look at it from the merits-based point, what are things we're going to say justify, this position? What are the things we can, outline to say that justify this position?
Well, I think it's a blend of two. Both some kind of political reward for loyalty, perhaps, and also merits-based. I say this because you can't talk about security without talking about the law. I mean, the law and security go hand in hand, and you know that the background of the state governor is a legal one. I mean, he is a maritime lawyer, he's a policy analyst, he has managed businesses before from the private sector, and all of these add up to someone who has the capacity to manage such a committee, such a sensitive committee, because anything security is not child's play. You don't just put anybody there and say, go and lead it, right? So for the presidency to immediately elevate him to that position, it shows that they trust his capacity to do it. Now, bringing it back to the state and the case of Chijoke Edoga, this is not to say he doesn't have it, but it was easier to find where to place him than it is for you to find where to place an Edoga. That's my take. So that aside, it also somehow has its own ripple effect on everything else, because it shows that this defection has not only put Enugu at that nationality, but it enters the position to even make those policy decisions. Because it's not just leading a national cabinet or leading a national committee. Enugu's agenda on security would also have more closeness to the center, because some of those reforms that the state governor will be privy to might also trickle down to the state, because you have more inside information, you know more about the challenges, what works, what doesn't work, and then that can also increase your experience when dealing with security situations in the state. Then bringing it back to the command and control center, I think that was a major thrust for this. And that is where the merit angle comes from, because the presidency, the federal government would want people who can deliver. The timeline. How much can you do in limited time, right? So I think that command and control center being one of the first to reach that level in such a short time, we saw the example was set for many other states. Then other state governors started saying they're going to make their own command and control centers. So I think because of that, then you have the DRS as well. We saw the recent report on the morning show today about how the DRS recently intercepted a man who was accused of murdering his wife. So that is already showing results, result-driven. Then you look at the timeline. So the presidency has given a month timeline for some kind of blueprint to be submitted to show how this overhauling of the security training institutions would work. And the state governor works with timelines, something that even on the morning show we keep on talking about. Must there always be a timeline, 180 days, 2 years, 24 months? So I don't think that will be much of a challenge. Based on the entire look at this, feel of this, I feel it's a mix of merit, political reward for loyalty, joining the party. The timing is what has informed that. And then at the same time, I think we should focus more, if we're going to be really objective about this, is to focus more on the outcome. How is the state governor able to deliver at the end of the day? It's that delivery, it's that outcome that will validate the meritocracy of this decision as a whole.
You know, talking about looking at the outcome, I want us to be kind of realistic based on what we've seen over the past 2 years of him being in office. We suffer security issues here in Enugu State precisely. So do you think that he has the capacity to handle this new position, checking from what we've suffered in Enugu State security-wise from when he took in office, I beg your pardon, to this particular time? Do you think he has been able to, you know, change the state of security in Enugu State and has the capacity to handle this new position?
Many people will see that as a rhetoric question. And I say that because of how sit-at-home was treated. Now, sit-at-home only lives in the minds of those who want to accommodate it. There are some people that say, oh, why are you here? I went to cover a report at Mbah'S market. Well, I'm supposed to say, you're lucky that you are even safe. Don't you know they sit-at-home? It's Monday. And I looked at him like there was something wrong with him. There must have been something wrong with him because it just lives in the mind. That singular action, the way he did it, showed that he took control of the security situation in the state. And he boldly came out many times to say Enugu is one of the safest states, or if not, it's one of the safest in Nigeria, right? So I think if you're going to draw from that as why this was given to him, definitely his handling of this justifies that position as well. And the reports we've seen, the communities, the herdsmen attacks, and how those have been handled. Yes, it's an ongoing thing, but I think he's also going to have a lot to learn from this new position. And remember, he is not going to be on the ground, you know, working and going ahead. He's chairing the committee that is going to oversee it. So the role is one of oversight. And let's not forget that the secretary on that committee is also a former Inspector General of Police. So he's also going to bring his own to the table. And of course, they're going to have that discussion and make sure that it happens.
All right. Now, looking at it also at the other part of it, we know we've talked about if it's merit-based. Now, looking if it's politically reward, do you think this is also another style to, you know, to ensure that the ruling party gets more strength here in the Southeast? You think, you know, trying to ensure that they stand strongly or strengthen their presence in the Southeast also influence this decision?
You're absolutely correct, Ogochukwu. You're absolutely correct, because you're seeing the Southeast. What I'm seeing now is the federal government trying to re-engage politically with the Southeast. The federal government is trying to bring the Southeast into the picture more. And yes, you can talk about what happened to the North and the rest and the presidency trying to retain its position. Yes. Anybody in power would have one job, and that is to retain that position for as long as it's legally due. So definitely you're correct. This move is a way of even pulling the Southeast nearer for whatever reason. And that is happening now. But when you talk about the balance, right, in that committee, so you also have some PDP governors there. But what I find questionable as well is the fact that some of those PDP governors that are there, there are rumors, smoke, you know, about the possibility of them defecting. Yeah. So, you know, it kind of shows that reality to you that once you align, these are the opportunities open, and this happened quite fast. The timing. Yes, so you see the governor now leading other governors on that panel, and even a former IGP. And you know what that does? It boosts the image of the state. It puts Enugu at this point where somebody from this state is able to make national policy decisions with ripple effects across Nigeria, because this is not a committee for the Federal Capital Territory. This is a committee that would serve the entire training institutions littered around Nigeria. So it rebrands Enugu as a whole, and it's still in line with that agenda of trying to rebrand the state that we've seen in all of the documentaries that we've done and all of the engagements that we've had. But many people who focus more on, okay, so this is it, this is the politics. I understand it. There are reservations, but we've researched, we've thought about it deeply. I feel it's more beneficial for the state if we start thinking of how delivering on these results could make Enugu seem like a state that is forward-thinking, that is modern. Because remember, one of the ideals of this is not just to go there and is to renovate, it is to modernize.
Yeah.
So even the smart schools, a lot of the modern infrastructure you're seeing have all led to this outcome at the end. There are other governors that could have been picked to chair. But why the one that recently, it means that the governor has come with value. And that vote of confidence by the president is an endorsement of that value. And I think it's in the place of people in the states to, start to feed into that and start to think of what that's going to do for the state. I mean, have you seen a thing like this in the history of Enugu? I think it's a good call.
I think it's a good call as well. So as we round up this conversation, what message do you think you should pass to other 5 Southeast states we have in the Southeast? What other message do you think the governors of these states should learn from this particular recognition?
That's a very important question, because one will say, the lesson is for them to defect. No, I'm not going to say that. That is not the lesson. The lesson is let your work speak for you. If you're working, it will speak for you. Many people try to deny allegations that APC was wooing the state governor. But the fact is that it was. The Central was interested in the state as well. And I'll continue to argue that. So let the work you do speak for you. If you're not being engaged for things like this, if you're not being outrightly sought after, it means you may have to do more. Right? Yeah. Governor Alex Oti is doing very well, very, very well, and other governors are trying their best, but I think they have to do more. That's my take on it.
Very important.